ethical considerations in reporting human rights violations. So, like when it comes to like journalism, there are like lots of this ethics are there. So even when we are like reporting normally, also there are like certain ethics to be like followed, right? So in India, this Press Council of India is like has given certain guidelines when we are like covering like certain conflicts, war, and other things, right? And then there are also like certain ethical consideration has given by like many international this human rights organizations. So we will be just like focusing on that one, okay, one by one. So the one thing is that when we talk about this like human rights violations, is that cultures and situations vary greatly, right? So it's like depending upon like different cultural context and the social context. It's always like kind of vary, right? So the journalist has to be like fully aware of that one, right? So even when they are like reporting about one community in one particular region, but like it might be different in other region also. So they cannot just come up with them basic understanding or prejudice of their own learning, and they cannot come and report about it. They have to report accordingly to the local cultural context, okay? So that is one thing very very important. And the next one, they have to be like very sensitized about the subject which they are doing it, okay? For example, they are going to report about rape, right? So they are like going to report about a rape, and then if the victim is like alive and they want to do the interview and all, they have to be like very sensitized, right? So they are even saying that when you are like reporting about like this the victims like who are like under this child harassment or like gender this one also, you should not like show their like full face, right? And you shouldn't even like give their like full identification also, right? That's what even this Kolkata rape case also, when this happened, like many people they have like kind of published the photo, the name of that like doctor and everything, right? But actually that is very very unethical. When you are reporting about those issues, you have to protect the privacy of the victim, right? So you shouldn't like let this one. And again, aggressor also, even before like convicted by the the police and other things, you cannot just come up with like they are just sharing like certain images of like certain men, and then they are saying that he is the one like involved in this one, just without like with some assumption and prejudice. You cannot like do that one, right? So until unless someone is not convicted by a court, he cannot be considered as the the person who is responsible for that one, right? So you cannot like the media, who has given the right to the media to write about that one, right? So that sensitivity should be there, right? So they shouldn't like release the picture or the identification of this one. And even like in the morning, I was like sharing you about like one story on this caste based segregations in prison, no? That journalist also, she has like taken interviews with many prisoners, but she has not revealed the names. Okay, she has like just given that just a given name, like for this writing reporting purpose only. She has mentioned that the name has been changed, right? So they don't want to put their the source under trouble also, right? For just leaving this one. So we have to be like very sensitive, right? So those things like and again, if someone's family has lost their like relative, their like li- you know, and you cannot just go and ask like suddenly you cannot just enter the thing, and then you cannot ask for this thing, right? So there should be like kind of protect the privacy of that one. Like they also should have let them like kind of grieve, and then they should have their like own privacy, right? But our media, it's not like that, right? Even if someone is going for someone's dead also, they'll be like kind of like start like if someone like even in Tamil Nadu there was this one cine actor ka daughter. She died because of suicide, okay? Because of some depression or something else. But the whole media is like kind of become like very kind of a prey, and then they were like kind of they didn't let the family to be like alone, right? All the time they are like chasing the family with the camera and everything, and they are like bringing all sort of like stories behind that one. So that is not needed, right? And the family, they have lost their like dear daughter, and they should like given the time. So after he get recovered and then if we come out of it and then they can have a kind of debate and all. But for their commercial value and like sensationalism, they are like kind of crossing those borders. So that's what it's very very problematic in India. And then when you are like kind of you have to pay extra details to the thing. Okay, so when you are like interviewing a victim's mother or even the victim also, you cannot like again and again ask the same thing, right? Because it's also kind of a traumatic experience for them. They must have like experience, so you shouldn't let them like again and again go back to it. So once you are asking, you better like ask like properly, and you have to be attentive of this one, and you cannot just daydream and then you put them under like pressure. So that is also there, and we have to be very methodical and forensic, right, for documentation. And you should also like try to use video and be careful not to disturb physical evidence, right? And remember, it is a human issue and often subjective, right? So you have to be like very careful about that one. So when you are reporting those things, and then again, when you are publishing this one also, there is no easy answers, right? For certain things like we don't know, like it's very complex also, right? So we have to understand the complexity of and the nuances of that particular problem, and then you have to report, and there should be care and sensitivity, right? You should not like just do it. And then for example, if you are like doing a story on HIV/AIDS, right? And then you know that the kind of stigma faced by the people living with HIV/AIDS and all, and you cannot just report, they're like publish their pictures and all, right? And if you are like publishing the pictures and everything, then you'll be in trouble, right? They will be under trouble. And again, certain communities, they also have this this one, what you call, um, the LGBTQIA, there is also some problem. And if someone is like kind of coming out also, they cannot like come out like fully, right? They have to like take care of the society and everything. So if you are like interviewing them for your story, right, about this discrimination about like LGBTQ in your like particular society or community, you cannot just like put their picture without their consent. So consent is very important. So if you are going to do the video and if you are going to take a photograph and everything, you have to ask the consent again and again. Can I do it or not, right? And then you have to show like whether this is wrong or not. And even if it is like photograph and like this one, you should not like reveal their faces and all, right? So you have to like mask it, right? You have to like properly mask it. Otherwise, their life will be in danger, because in certain communities they might be get killed also, right, for certain things. So we have to be like very careful. So the you have to think about the people. So even your news sources also, they might be giving you the this one information, but you will like publish that story and you will go away, right? But that news source have to be there in that particular society, right? So you have to be like taking care of them also. So you shouldn't like reveal their names if it is very sensitive issues and all. So you have to be like very careful, okay? Otherwise it would be like very problematic. And again, this one like the evidence, you have to be very careful about the kind of evidence, the documents you are getting when you are like doing this high sensitive issues and all. You have to be like very thorough, and you should not be like kind of fall for this misinformation or disinformation. And you should be like wary about your sources, whom you are like using it, and with what intention they are giving your news and all, right? So that one also you have to be like very careful. And that's what. Always remember that you can usually leave the local community, but your sources may not be able to. And then this one, are there some stories which it is easier for internationals to handle? So helps maintain neutrality and give extra attention to your own safety in sensitive situation also, right? Mostly we know that like how journalist lives also under threat, right? We know like how the journalists are being like killed and attacked, and all those things are also there. So journalists also have to take care of themselves, right? They shouldn't get into trouble. And then always like when you are going for those kind of field and all, you have to tell colleagues where you are going and when you expect to return, and try to work in a team, right? So that is very important. I think, have you all read this Teresa Ramon's book like Bulletproof Reporting? No, you read that one. It's a very interesting work. I think Teresa Ramon is in this campus only, right? Yeah, she's in the teachers' quarters only. Like her husband is working here, and she is a very prominent journalist, and she worked with this Thumbprint and before that Tehelka, and she was the one exposed that fake encounter in Manipur. No? It's a huge issue at that time. and she has also published like two books. Yeah, Bulletproof Reporting and also Mothers of Manipur. Like two books are there. You should read that one. It's a very interesting work. Like how this Bulletproof Reporting, like she has written about like how being a journalist and like going to this conflict regions and like meeting people. How she has like met with this even non-state actors, all those, and how she has like reported and all everything she has written. So you can also see because these are all very sensitive issues, right? For example, she reported about this fake news, the fake encounter in Manipur, and she got somehow like through some sources she got the image and like photos and everything, and then she broke that news in Tehelka, and it has become a huge issue in India. Then for that she was like being summoned by the court and others, but till the end, like she didn't like kind of told like who the source was, right? Because if she tell the source like who gave that one, they'll be in the trouble. So like she protected her like news sources also. So that kind of of integrity you should have, like, and the boldness also. But for that she also suffered a lot, like she has to go again and again. She was pregnant at the time. All those things like she has written in her book also. So those things, like being a journalist and working in this kind of region is also very difficult, and particularly you are from a different community and then you are like reporting about one community, right? So again you'll be under trouble, right? So nowadays like even the journalists are also not free from hate speech, right? They will immediately like start kind of attacking you online, like through calls and videos and everything, all sort of these things. Like even women journalists are also not like like out of that one, right? So that is also one thing. So you have to be very careful, right? So where you are going and with whom you are working. So you have to always work in a team, all those things. And again, like always interview each person alone. You shouldn't have a kind of group interview because if you are like interviewing in a group, then one can influence the other, right? And someone will be like intimidated by the other one, so they may not be like giving out the thing. So you have to always like interview each person like alone. And again, too many voices are too difficult to record also, right? Because in this like sensitive issues and all, if you are not recording, then later on they might say that I didn't tell this one and you will be under trouble, right? They will say that she has like kind of did an imaginative story, like it's fictional, she don't have any evidence, so she has to keep it for her safety also, like her or like his safety, right? And then sometimes group pressure also easily changes the story, right? If there are like group of people, they may try to come up with their like own this one like with a narrative, right? And it may influence other people also to follow the same narrative. So you have to be very careful about that one. And you have to also be like very open about like transparent that I am coming from this organization and I am representing this one. So you have to like tell you this one because they have the right to know with whom they are like opening up also, right? So we have to be like very careful. And like you have to also convince them. They will be asking like why should I like tell you, like I'll be in trouble. And you have to tell no, no, if and only we publish this one, then it has a huge impact and then people will take care of it, and then the other people will also be like kind of be there might be some change, so you have to agree. So you have to like convince them also, you have to get their consent, and after that only you have to be. And again we have to be very careful about whether they want to be like anonymous, right? Or they want to like come out as like open. So that one, based on that only you have to like write your stories also. And you have to always like confirm the name and age of interviews can like on midway also, and you may not know like with whom you have interviewed also. So in the beginning itself you have to get all those details, and then you have to like kind of confirm the supporting details. For example, clear description of places where the issue happened and names of all present at the event, like what whoever their positions, their jobs, and recognizable uniforms or insignia. Everything you have to like write it properly and thoroughly. Okay, methodologically. It's otherwise if it is not systemic and then you are writing something else, then it may lead to like distortion of fact, but you have to stand by the truth, right? So for that you have to come up with this proper like supporting details also. Then you have to like timing and the sequence of events, that is also very important. So what said when, and you have to cross refer and have interview repeat several times and compare stories like too similar or too dissimilar and understand the stress in the interview also. Take breaks if possible and can be traumatic for the interviews and for the journalist also, because journalist mental health is also under stake, right? And you know that the journalists who are during this COVID and all, no, they were like under tremendous mental health. You know, they were like under so much of pressure because the media people they have to go and report, right? So they have to go out and do it only. But again, their life also it's like very risky. They might like contract, they may get the virus, and if they go to their family, they may get into it. And again, if something happens to him or her, then who will take care of the family? So they were also like under like lot of stress, and wherever they are going, they are seeing like too much of pain, suffering, and other things, right? So they are also human beings. How much you will like take it, right? So whatever you are taking, it will be there, and then it will also like affect you very badly. So you have to see, and even the people who are like reporting in this war zone and conflict zones and all, no, these people their mental health will be like deeply affected. So we have to like take care of them also. And then contacting appropriate organizations, because when you are dealing with this human rights thing and all, you can always have a proper like civil society group or NGO group who are working on that one, and you can get their support also, so that you have a backup. And if and only they agree to do with your interviewees, then you have to do it. Otherwise, and remember the individual's right to anonymity. The anonymity is very, very important, but the media is all the time sacrificing that sanctum, right? They are not like properly following that one. They always come up with the faces and like names, and then they are putting their family under trouble. And you may have a mix of information, so you have to agree to pass on some, not keep close track of what you have agreed. And you have this off the record and on the record, right? For certain things, like the person may be like or trusting you and like opening up, but they'll say that this is off the record, it should not be like published, right? Then that one also you have to keep note of it. So when you are like recording and you are like noting it down, okay, this thing is like off the record, so I shouldn't like get published it, right? So you have to like respect your interviewees, right? So that is also very important. So which one you have agreed on, that one you have to like go with this off the record and on the record also. And then give extra attention to security and data protection issues, because when you are like dealing with this investigative reports and all, your mobile or even your computer may be hacked, right? So everything, so you have to keep your evidences in so many other like supporting devices also. You have to like take care of it and be respectful of the implications of a story for the individual and his her community, right? So for them it's something very this one, and they are not going to get paid anything for what they are like opening up, right? Maybe you get a huge story and you can have like a scoop story and all, but what they are going to get, nothing, right? So you have to respect that one. So out of this, like even though we are convincing them and to they come up with their story, but we have to be very careful. And another one thing, like the journalist role is to fact verification, right? And again, our journalists are not going with that one. They are not properly verifying these things, right? And nowadays it's very easy to verify, right? You can give a call to like proper person and everything, and there are also tools to like verify it, right? And the journalist should be aware of like what how they can like debunk this misinformation and like disinformation, and they should be like aware of those things, and they have to like reach out to it. Sometimes even the journalists, when they are like reporting certain things in their social media, no, they suddenly will like share a status in this one, and we may think that the journalist has reported, so it must be true. And you will also be like sharing that one, and after few like hours they may say it's like fake news, and I did it mistakenly, right? So journalists are also human beings, right? So they have to be like more careful, right? So when they are like coming up, even though this work pressure and everything is there, they have to always do the fact checking. They have to. So if they can't do the fact checking, and if it is like kind of given by a government office or something else, they have to report it. But when they are reported, they can kind of go with this inclusive of like more voices. Okay, they can make it very, very pluralistic. They can bring in like many news sources, and then through that you can like write the story also, right? So that it can be like more. And as I said that you cannot be like objective, right? You cannot be objective when you want to stand with the truth. You have to like stand with the truth, so it has to be like, so you have to make the right decisions. So what kind of decision? If you are going to take a decision and it's going to affect someone very badly, then you have to think twice. So even news should not put someone under trouble, right? So that things also we have to take care of it. And then what else is there in this ethical considerations? You have to respect the victim, their privacy, and then and you cannot just kind of half baked information you cannot give. You have to always like come up with like more inclusive things, all those things. Yeah. And other ethics, so like the same journalistic ethics only, right? You should not like lie, and you should not tell this one, and you should not distort the truth, all those things.